my first council meeting, I was so nervous because I had no idea what to expect. And I was stressing about whether or not I was wearing the right clothes. Did I get there early enough? What do I do with myself while I'm waiting for the meeting to actually start? And then it did start, and I was so confused. I could have sworn that the council members were speaking a different language. It's like, I'm never gonna understand what any of this means. I just have to sit here and look pretty, I guess. But it's just crazy to think back on, because now not only am I able to understand and comprehend everything that they're saying, but then like a week or two later, we speak with the mayor about what happened, and I'm able to give my honest thoughts, feelings, and opinions on everything that's going around in Green. After even just one meeting, everyone welcomes you with such kindness and open arms, and they're not annoyed by your presence, but they're actually happy that you're there. There really is nowhere else where you can have this type of experience and learn as much as you do. Like in any other program or extracurricular I've ever been involved with, I never felt like I actually learned anything, which just is so far from the truth with this.
When I first was joining this, I was like, the zoning appeals board, how fun could that be? Like, how interesting could zoning appeals be? Like my first year, I was thinking about a few things, and I think I put zoning appeals kind of high up, but I was really thinking, government, like mayor's junior council and stuff like that. Mayor's junior council, I'm sure, is very important, but like the zoning appeals board and the design review board is just as important. I never realized that until you're like at the board meetings and you realize what a crucial role they have in the community, It's like the behind the scenes stuff, in like a play, you got like the people working behind, and if they're not there, the play's not going to happen. And same goes with government, Mr. Wheatley, he was really crucial to me to finding the design review board. When I was on the zoning appeals board, he was always talking about like all the members would always ask him questions because he knew like everything, about zoning, about the housing, the business rules, all the rules that you had to follow. And if any of the board members ever had questions, they'd always ask him, what does the design review board think of this? Or like, what do you think of that? And I also ran into him at all sorts of like leadership events around the city of Green. He always made sure to attend those. And I was like, this man's really fascinating. I'm figure out which board he's on and go there next. So I went to the design review board next, and it's still really interesting.
I want to help people who struggle with substance abuse or mental health issues, and I feel like that was like a really eye-opening experience to help me understand more about what I was interested in. Well, being someone who isn't as exposed to substance abuse and like other issues like that, it's really opened my eyes to other people's experiences, and I've learned a lot. I've gotten close with Valerie. I really like her, and she's very informative. You can tell she really wants to make a difference, and it's nice to see an adult who just really cares. You learn so much about the government, and you meet amazing people, and you just learn so much that you just don't really know and you learn in school. I just like to thank all the people in the drug task force. I've learned a lot from them, and I will take the memories I've had and carry it on with me.
My brother was also in this program, and he always told me stories about it, so I'm like, I kind of want to do that. Me and my brother we both did our Eagle projects at the schoolhouse with Mrs. Schweikert, and I did the desks. I just refinished them and varnished them, and then my brother painted the walls and like fixed them up. They always made us introduce the items, and I was really bad at it, and like every time it messed up like a lot, and there was one where it didn't even make sense. It was like calling the meeting to like adjournment, and I just like made noises, and then Recently there was like a Dollar General at the Planning and Zoning Commission. I thought that was pretty interesting because the community came, they were all like upset about it, and I thought it was interesting like seeing the community's like input and how it changes how they like either pass it or don't.
I loved being on the Parks and Rec board. I learned a lot from every member, especially Dr. Victor Pinero was super, super nice and kind of like took me under his wing, gave me a lot of great advice on just life in general. I thought this was an interesting year because of all the transitions at City Council, so it was cool seeing how the government had to adapt to those transitions, and there was a vacancy in one of the wards because a council person got moved to the mayor's spot, then the mayor had to transition back into city council. So there was a lot of like changing dynamics, and it was really cool to see how people reacted and interacted with those changing dynamics. Mayor's junior council is my favorite that I've done like over the past 3 years because it's super cool to talk to all the people who like really know what they're doing and are super involved in the city. Both of the mayors that I've talked to have been great, super knowledgeable, and then you get to create your own projects. And the project I'm most excited about is coming soon. It's the voter registration drive, because they are really letting the students kind of take control and guide that, and I get to try to bring the vote goat to the city, and I'm really excited because I've always wanted to do a vote goat. I would say that the student representative program is really cool. You get to see behind the scenes of your own government, which I think is super beneficial, and then you also get to make your opinion as a student heard too, which not a lot of cities offer that. Whenever I talk to my friends from other cities, they're like, this is the coolest thing ever, I want to join it. I always say that it's really cool that you can be invested in your city, and then you also feel like your city is invested in you.
I was motivated because I heard of the Historic Preservation Commission, actually. My sister used to be on there, and that sounded just super interesting to me because history's always been my favorite subject in school. So actually that was what motivated me to do it, so I could be part of that commission. And then that led to Mayor's Junior Council my senior year. I guess I never really got to appreciate the history of like the city of Green before, because you don't really talk about that in history classes. You're always talking about global history or nationwide history. You're not talking about local history. So it was just really interesting to learn about that. I've never been to like a city council meeting before this, so I never really thought about exactly how much goes into each piece of legislation, like no sidewalks, for example. I guess I never really thought about how much goes behind that and goes into that. And it's just really inspiring to see how much work each member of the council puts into these little things that maybe residents don't necessarily think about all that much. I've gotten just a lot more connected, not only with the classmates I've been involved in this program with, but also just community members. Like, I never would have met so many of these amazing people on historic preservation or city council without this program, and I think that's really important to be involved in your community like that.
I think it just solidified that I want to be involved in politics in some way. I don't know necessarily specifically what I want to do, like, because there's so many things and you never know what you'll find internships for and realize you like that for. But I think seeing how people interact and how there is to discuss about politics and all the different sides of it definitely was like, I know I'll find something I enjoy to do in politics, because I see everyone coming from different backgrounds and like different specialties. So it's like, I know there's something there for me. When we, for our like project this year as the council, we film videos for the city's Instagram, and it's like a good, I don't know, bonding moment for us, because we're getting to know people who we don't necessarily see all the time in school because we have different schedules, different classes. But when we come together as the Mayor's Junior Council and like interact with each other, it's very entertaining.
It really showed me that like the community government, it may be local and it may cover some smaller issues than all the stuff that will actually appear on the major news, but like these things are still very important. The Dollar General group certainly had like a well thought out argument. They presented everything, but one by one, like that was picked apart by the community, and I'm like, okay, maybe this isn't such a great idea. And that's just the interesting thing about it, because you can present so many different point of views that you normally don't see within the community, because you only interact with the same people usually, and seeing this whole cast of people show up and against it and present each their individual reasons why they don't think it's a good project, it really opens up your eyes to other opinions within the community that say, hey, now wait a second, this has a negative impact on us and we'd have something to say about it. And I just thought, wow, this is just such an interesting way to look at the development of a city, because it's not just build, build, build. It's about like simultaneously, yes, developing the city, making it a better place, increasing the standard of living for the citizens, but at the same time also kind of like protecting like the homes that people have grown up in and like what they feel comfortable with. But there's just a certain merit in being able to just once a month going out to a meeting and seeing what is my community doing, what's changing in my community, what's improving in my community. And if you just open your eyes and you go into a program like this, which I've said this a few times, but I'm very grateful that they did introduce this, it just really is helpful.
So I've got to serve on the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Board, also the Civil Service Commission, and now the Living Green Task Force. Of those, I've gotten the chance to just to connect with other members of the community, especially in the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Board. It was just impactful to get to talk to other members about how they saw the connections in the community. The Civil Service Commission I also enjoyed a lot because it's just fun to go through those resumes and, the credentials. And it's very bureaucratic. It's very check off a to-do list, which I enjoy. Living Green Task Force I've also enjoyed so much because, again, it's connecting with the community. So I got the chance to go to a chiropractor practice where I got to see the solar panels that were installed and, the Tesla charger in the back. And I just thought that was really cool with how it was installed, especially the greenery and just how it looked. So it's just amazing because there's so many parts of the city that you don't get to see unless you apply yourself and involve yourself. And I think that's just what this program allows us to do. I didn't really know, honestly, about the schoolhouse at Bettler. Hey, we have this event, 2 hours to come help at the schoolhouse, and I went there and I just loved the impact of seeing not only how our community connects, but how the community has evolved and changed over time. And I went there over the course of a couple weeks, probably 2 months, every Sunday for 2 to 4 hours. And I would help reorganize in the basement and kind of make it into a museum of not only Green's history, but even the nation's history. Honestly, my first meeting at the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Board, I didn't realize there were so many people in the city interested in making sure everyone felt accommodated and making sure that everyone felt like they belonged in the community. And I think it was really impactful to me just to see, wow, there are these people who care about the community. Mayor Nugebauer, I love every time I see him, he gives me a fist bump. It's pretty cool. I just think there's so many amazing people in the community, and I'd like to thank all of them. Even if I didn't say their name, everyone in the community I'd like to thank for their support.